So Mike.
Yes, sir.
I saw a new trailer today on YouTube online that shocked me.
Oh,
Did
yeah?
not even know this was existing.
Now, are we talking a trailer? Like a movie trailer?
It's a movie
or are we
trailer.
talking about...
Yes, a movie trailer. No, one of those trailers in the back of a truck.
Like you never know.
Yes. It's a movie trailer that I was not expecting.
Okay.
By the way, we're going to get to debate stuff. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio, but this is more important right now. There was a movie trailer.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Beyond Reason Radio. It's coming up. All right. Anyway, go ahead. Trailers.
It's a sequel. Can you take a guess what it could possibly be?
A sequel to something that you're surprised to see.
Uh-huh. It's a few years old now. The first one came out 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Let me give you another hint.
Yes, please.
It was a movie directed by J.J. Abrams.
Okay.
But this one is not going to be directed by him, but it's by his production company.
Give me one more hint.
Our monster.
A monster?
Yes.
Monsters, Inc.? Just kidding.
No, that was definitely not a J.J. Abrams movie.
That was a joke. Okay, so...
I know you've seen this movie, and I know many people in this audience probably seen this movie. And I couldn't believe they made a sequel. I had no idea it was coming.
It's not Star Trek, is it?
No, they've already had a sequel to that.
Yeah, they have.
And they have a new one coming out next year. I mean, everyone knew that.
I just saw it.
Hey, you cheated. You Googled it, didn't you?
I cheated.
Cloverfield. It's called like 10 Cloverfield Lane.
But here's the thing. I got the most mixed reviews on that movie when it first came out.
Right. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Yeah, one thing it wasn't like the greatest movie ever. One thing I did like about it, though, is it seemed like a nightmare. It seemed like you were in a bad dream.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had a bad dream where you were being chased by something?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we all have. Ex-girlfriends. Well, that's real life. That's not a bad dream. Yeah, but I mean, we've all had bad dreams where we're being chased by a monster or a bad guy or something. And
or
that's
Trump.
Or Trump. Yeah. No, I haven't had that dream. That would be a scary dream.
It'll happen.
But that's what I felt like in that movie. But this one is interesting because the trailer doesn't give a whole lot away. Mm-hmm. The movie's called 10 Cloverfield Lane, and it's about these three people living in a bunker. So it's kind of like afterwards the attack happens. But apparently, I was looking it up. The synopsis is there was a girl who got in a car accident and woke up in the bunker with these two guys. So she's like thinking they just kidnapped her.
Before everything happened, she got in a car accident?
I guess. It doesn't really explain it, but she doesn't know about the monster or anything.
Really?
And he tells her it was a chemical attack. And so she just starts to think that they are lying to her, so she tries to escape. And he has to prevent her. John Goodman's in it.
Really?
Yeah. It's very interesting. I wanted to point that out to everybody. Cloverfield
I like John Goodman.
sequel. I had no idea it was... I mean, that is beyond reason. If you want to talk about Beyond Reason, that is Beyond Reason. All right, you are listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com and live in the Beyond Reason Radio app as well, which you can download at your app store, your Apple App Store, or your Google Play Store. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure to share with your friends because you can get the podcast anywhere. So after we do it live, you can get the podcast pretty much on any podcast outlet out there. So another thing that's kind of Beyond Reason, Mike, that you're probably not expecting me to say.
Mm-hmm. These are my favorite.
I think Trump's going to win the nomination.
Mm.
You don't seem too excited. I'm not necessarily very excited about that either.
Well, listen, I mean, I'm not shocked.
I think he's probably going to win. Either that or, believe it or not, I think Jeb Bush is going to come out of nowhere and start winning again, which is both awful because they're both going to lose to Hillary or Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I really believe that. But you're probably wondering why I think that.
Yeah, and why Jeb? That's my other question.
Jeb all of a sudden's kind of rising in the polls, but he's sort of changed. In the last debate, in the debate yesterday, he was different. He's campaigning as the steady hand, and he actually kind of seemed like that for once. The other thing is he's smart because he's decided to go, instead of going after Trump or going after Cruz, he's going after the people lower. He's going after Rubio right now. So he's sort of doing it a step by step. It's kind of like, okay, first I'm going to take out Rubio, then maybe I'll take out Cruz, and then maybe I'll take out Trump. It's kind of smart politics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want this to happen, by the way. He's the most establishment of establishment candidates. And he would lose because he's a Bush.
Yeah.
Poor Jeb, I'm
Definitely
sorry.
one of the lesser evils of,
Probably.
But,
oh, yes.
But, yes.
I mean, I would vote for him if he was the nominee.
Name.
But
why doesn't he just change his name?
Yeah, it's just that easy. Well, notice
Accented at
Notice
the end.
when he's campaigning, you've seen his logo. It's just Jeb. Exclamation point.
Yeah.
It's not Jeb Bush.
Yeah.
That is definitely done on
He
purpose.
knows the weight that name has.
By the way, Jeb is not really his name. It's an acronym for his name. And I forget what the E stands for.
Really?
Yeah, so the B in Jeb actually stands for Bush. It's like
It's
John.
Jebediah.
I forget what the acronym is. You might want to need to Google that, but it's like John something Bush. I had no idea, and I looked that up one day. I was like, oh, interesting.
John Ellis Bush.
Yeah, John Ellis Bush is his real name.
Jeb Bush is not his real name.
So when he does the Jeb thing, it actually is correct.
So it's sort of like when you go to Starbucks and you order a chai tea, you're saying chai means tea. So you're saying TT. So you're saying Jeb Ellis or John Ellis Bush.
Exactly.
Is what he's been saying all these years.
Uh-huh. Now, or it's like when you go to ATM machine, you're saying automatic teller machine.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Okay, but this is why I think Trump is going to win. By the way, if anyone's out there listening, you can tweet me if you want, if you disagree or agree. Send me a tweet. Just follow me at Beyond Reason Radio. At Beyond Reason R. Beyond Reason R. Beyond Reason, the letter R. So at Beyond Reason R, find me on Twitter.
And if you know the person who has the handle Beyond Reason Radio, let us know so we can get rid of them.
Yeah, right? Right? Who does he think he is? Anyway, this is why I think. And it started with a whole thing between Cruz and Trump. Everyone has heard these cuts today, but I need to play them again to tell you why I think Trump's going to win. It starts with Cruz, though. Cruz criticizes Trump. So, Mike, can you get the Cruz cut ready? Cruz cut 1. This is what he said against Trump.
Last week we released our tax plan.
That's not right.
And multiple reputable...
Okay, so you said Cruz, and of course I clicked Carson.
Yes, that's coming up later. Please, Cruz, C-R-U-Z, cut 1.
There are many, many wonderful, wonderful working men and women in the state of New York. But everyone understands that the values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage, focus around money and the media. Not a lot of conservatives come out of Manhattan. I'm just saying.
Now, that's actually very true. Everyone knows that Manhattan's a liberal city, or a liberal island, that New York always votes Democrat. Although they had Rudy Giuliani for years, and of course, those years are when New York became better, and if that tells you anything. But right now, they voted a communist. Literally, they voted a communist as the mayor of New York right now. So that tells you where they are, and that's what Cruz is talking about. Not only that, but he's talking about an interview that Trump did with Tim Russert. I'm not going to play the audio here. You've all probably heard it. If you haven't heard it, what happened is they kept asking Trump questions about abortion and gay marriage, and Trump kept saying, well, I grew up in New York. I grew up in New York, so I'm pro-choice. I grew up in New York, so I'm for gay marriage. I grew up in New York and did this. So that's what Cruz is talking about. It's a refutation for Trump, saying because Trump himself said he was liberal because he grew up in New York. So that's what this whole thing started. But Trump's answer here is why I think Trump's going to win, because honestly, I hate to say it, it's brilliant. And this is what Trump had to say. Trump cut 1, Mike.
Thousands of people killed, and the cleanup started the next day, and it was the most horrific cleanup probably in the history of doing this and in construction. I was down there, and I've never seen anything like it. And the people in New York fought and fought and fought, and we saw more death, and even the smell of death. Nobody understood it, and it was with us for months, the smell, the air. And we rebuilt downtown Manhattan, And everybody in the world watched, and everybody in the world loved New York and loved New Yorkers. And I have to tell you, that was a very insulting statement that Ted made.
So I heard that, and immediately I thought, Trump's going to win. Immediately I thought that. Because, now, the comment was dumb. It had nothing to do with what Cruz was talking about. He said conservatives don't come out of New York, and Trump said there's great people because of 9/11 and how they reacted to 9/11. Cruz didn't say there weren't good. Actually, he said earlier in his comment, I didn't play it, he said there are some great people in New York. They're just not conservative. We all know this. Everybody in the world who has a brain knows what Cruz was talking about. But Trump, for one, Trump had to show people that he has a soul. He had to show people that he's not just all attack, all attack. Yeah. He had to show a personal side to him, that he loves the country.
That was an actual heart in there.
Yeah. What he said there does that. It does that. Two, it's being played everywhere today, like I knew it would, as a brilliant comment that, yeah, he's sticking up for New York. And of course, everyone in the media is in New York. So, yeah, New York rules.
USA.
And it's
USA.
like, yeah, and it's like, he's not saying that. He's talking about the politics of New York. We're not talking about the people and how they react to 9/11. That's Americans. That's how Americans would react anywhere. That's America. But the way Trump twisted it was brilliant. And I'm sad because it's going to work. Trump has charisma. He's very good at this. He knows exactly what he's doing in terms of now, unfortunately. And it's going to work. And I've seen conservatives out there, and they've totally 100% bought into what Trump said. Although, think about it. This is what Trump's comments always are like. He doesn't actually say anything of substance. Because think about that. What does 9/11... as soon as all Trump should have just said is 9/11. Yeah, 9/11, New York. Oh, yeah. Like, how they reacted to 9/11. That's all he had. It's like all he had to say.
USA.
But we're talking about the politics of New York. We're talking about Trump using the politics of New York, being influenced by the politics of New York, which everybody in the country knows is liberal, is leftist, is statist. And yet, he goes into this whole thing about 9/11 and how personal he is. And everyone's like, yes, he's so smart. And we're all like, that's not, what has nothing to do with what. And this is how it is all the time with Trump, but it works. Unfortunately. It's going to work. So, like I said, I think Trump's going to win. Now we're going to get into a bunch of other stuff that happened on the debate as well. By the way, I don't want Trump to win. I probably would vote for him over Hillary, unfortunately, unless he does something really crazy, like out of nowhere. But, yeah, there was a bunch of other stuff going on in the debate as well that we are going to get into here at Beyond Reason Radio, because Trump and Cruz were not done in their little back and forth, especially the whole birther thing, which is just silly. But then we'll talk about, other candidates. Everyone is saying that Ben Carson's out of it. Everyone's saying John Kasich's out of it. And some people are saying Jeb Bush is out of it. I'm not sure. Of course, Jeb Bush got the coveted Lindsey Graham endorsement today. I saw that today, where Lindsey Graham came out in South Carolina and endorsed Jeb Bush, and it was a press conference. And it almost looked like I could picture Jeb Bush saying, do you have to? Do you really have to endorse me? I don't really think you're going to help me with your endorsement. So, how about we just, keep this between us? No, press conference. We have to do this. And Jeb's like, oh, fine. I guess I'll be endorsed by you. You were like 0.3 in the polls when you were running, but okay. You can even see it on his face during the press conference. So Jeb got the coveted, the most wanted Lindsey Graham endorsement. Just more reason for me not to want to support Jeb. We're going to get into more debate stuff and some other news. It's beyond reason, including how the government is deciding to spend more of your money on things, like I said, that are beyond reason. You are listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com and on the Beyond Radio app.
Subscribe to the Beyond Reason podcast today on your Stitcher app and hear the voice of reason anytime.
Hey, this is Mike Yaffee from Buttheadinger Live and Beyond Reason Radio, and I have a question for you. Are you planning on taking any long road trips? Well, I have the perfect tool for you to make that trip go by a little bit faster. What you want to do is download the iHeartRadio app. With the iHeartRadio app, you can find your favorite music stations or create your own custom station. Don't forget to look up your favorite talk show hosts. You can find that on there as well. Make sure to download the app today at iHeartRadio.com.
You can catch the latest Beyond Reason podcast on SoundCloud today. Download the app today and search Beyond Reason Radio.
For the people in our military, it's a time of sacrifice and duty. That's why all 4 military aid societies have joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. With so many serving overseas, the need is greater than ever. You can learn more and donate at www.afrtrust.org. A message from the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Are you a small business owner in the Orlando area? Are you looking for a new, affordable way to advertise your business? Well, look no further than Beyond Reason Radio. By advertising on Beyond Reason Radio, you use the power of the internet, of radio, and of podcast. Beyond Reason Radio is available on pretty much any podcast outlet you can think of, and that means your advertisement could be on those podcast outlets as well. What better way is there to reach a loyal conservative audience for you? On Beyond Reason Radio, you get personal advertising by me, Michael Yaffee, the host, to reach people who are interested in your business. If you're interested in advertising on Beyond Reason Radio or the website beyondreasonradio.com or the podcast available, like I said, anywhere, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page at facebook.com/Beyond Reason Radio, and send me a message telling me about your business and say you're interested in advertising. Why not help lift your business up today by advertising on Beyond Reason Radio?
Any of the show, you can download the Beyond Reason podcast on iTunes. Now, back to Beyond Reason Radio.
Welcome back to the show. This is Michael Yaffee, your host, the voice of reason in a world that is beyond reason, in debate times that are beyond reason, and in a stock market, during a stock market that has been acting beyond reason lately. The stock market once again dropped almost 400 points today. And you know what I love about this, Mike, when this happens, every time the stock market does a crazy drop like this? By the way, first let me update you. The Dow slides 391 points. Oil and China drops rattle investors. So there's a lot of problems going in China, who everyone says the future. That's the future economy, and they're having a lot of problems. And oil prices keep dropping because, well, what do you know? It's like what we said. Conservatives have been saying for years, if you increase the supply, the supply will be able to meet the demand, and oil prices and gas prices will go down. Well, that's what happened. The U.S. has increased the supply in the past few years exponentially, and what do you know? Oil prices are going down. Now, with China's economy doing rough and some other economies doing rough, the demand is also going down, which helps, and green energy has helped a part of that as well. Which, by the way, I'm not against green energy. Everyone thinks I'm against green energy, probably. I'm not against it. I just don't want to be lectured that green energy is helping me save the planet. Green energy is fine. Solar panels is fine if you want that for your house. If you want to be off the grid, that's great. If you want to save money, if it helps save oil prices, fine. I want as many different energy options as possible. I just don't want to be lectured that it's helping me save the planet. Because I don't care. But you know what's funny to me, anyway, about every time the stock market, Mike will probably notice this as well, every time the stock market goes down, they always get a picture or video of somebody, one of the traders on the floor of the exchange, and they always seem to find a picture of a guy who's like very distraught that the stock market is doing.
Absolutely.
You notice that? Like
all
the stock,
time.
like it's like the end of the world to this one trader, and he's looking up and he's like crying or something.
It's always as if like the depression's happening again.
Exactly. You notice that? Because I'm looking at the USA Today article today, and they have this one guy, he's got his hand over his head, and he's looking, he's like, and it's like, oh my God, the end of the world is coming because the stock market went down, which happens. And I'm like, I wonder if this guy even is thinking that, or if he's like, oh man, I forgot to pick up milk from the store on
My
the way
wife's
here.
going to be so mad.
That's probably what he's really thinking. But I just found that amusing that I noticed that every time the stock market goes down, they find these pictures. I don't know where they get it, but it makes me laugh. All right, back to some debate talk. And we were talking about Trump and how I think Trump's going to win the nomination now. And he's clever, but not too clever for me. Of course, I pointed out exactly why his comment on New York had nothing to do with anything that Cruz was talking about, and everybody knows it. Well, not everyone, but people with a brain know it. But there was another exchange, and it has to do with the whole birther thing. Trump's campaign and Trump himself has brought up this whole thing about, is Ted Cruz qualified to be president because he was born outside of the United States? Now, this has really been settled because Cruz, at birth, was a citizen. He was born as a citizen. Yes, he was born in Canada, but his mom was a citizen, so that means at birth, he's a citizen. And there's no legal battle here. It's not why Trump's bringing it up. But Trump reacts to this. And this is what Trump said. Mike, if you can get cut to ready of Trump, this is what Trump has to say about this whole birther thing.
This isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square. I don't have to win this way. Thank you. Lawrence tried. And numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay?
So he says, this isn't me saying this. I don't care. That's Trump's words right there. This isn't me saying this. I don't care. But notice in this next cut here, what he says next, that totally contradicts that statement, and nobody is pointing this out. This is what Trump said when he was asked about this.
Why now? Why are you raising this issue now?
Because now he's doing a little bit better. No, I didn't care before. It's true. No, it's true. Hey, look, he never had a chance. Now he's doing better. He's got probably a 4 or 5% chance.
By the way, you should see Trump smile, his smirk after he says that. He's good.
Oh, my gosh.
You laugh because it's
such
good.
a Trump thing to say.
Exactly. But think about this. He admits right there. He was asked, why did you bring this up? Because his poll numbers are going up. He says, it's not me saying this. I don't care is what he says. You're the one who brought this up, Trump. You're the whole reason why this is being talked about right now. You are the one who started this debate on the birther question for Ted Cruz. This wasn't talked about at the beginning of the campaign when you were getting along with Cruz. You brought it up now. But then, now So think about how clever this is. I am surprised that Trump hasn't been a politician all his life, because he's becoming a very, very good politician. He brings up a topic, then acts like he wasn't the one who brought it up, that he doesn't really care about the topic that he brought up to begin with, to denounce Cruz. So that would be like saying, Mike, nobody's ever said this ever about you, Mike, okay? It would be like me just bringing this up out of nowhere, saying, Mike, there's some question about you not being so good as a producer.
Who told you?
there's a question.
Who said that? I will find them.
Yeah, so it would be like me bringing that up. Nobody's ever said that ever before anywhere. It would be me bringing it up. Look, Mike's not qualified to be a producer. And then me saying, I don't care. I don't care that he's qualified. The other side cares. Other radio hosts cares. The radio business cares. I don't care.
So I bring it up.
But this is a question. Exactly. But I'm the one who brought it up. Oh, it's brilliant. It really is when you think about it. And we fall for it. We totally fall for it. Everyone is praising Trump's performance last night. We've all fallen for it, and it's total BS. Not only that, but the whole birther thing itself is total BS, and Trump knows it. And he admitted that the only reason he brought it up is because Cruz's poll numbers are going up, and he needed to attack him. At least he's honest about it there. But I'm telling you, I am shocked. I am completely shocked that Trump has not been a politician his whole life, because he's kind of got this politician thing down. Now, the other thing I wanted to comment on about the debate, there's a lot of question about taxes. Rubio and Ted Cruz got into it over their different tax policies, and we can go into that. Rubio has basically a standard. Rubio's plan is to simplify the tax code, but it's still a progressive tax where it gets bigger percentage the richer you are. It's still pretty close to what we have. It has some deductions. It's simpler. It's better than what we have. Where Ted Cruz's plan is to have a 10% flat tax unless you're at the poverty level, and to totally get rid of the payroll tax, the capital gains tax, the corporate income tax, and replace it with what's called a business tax. Now, Rubio criticized Cruz for saying, look, that's not a business tax, that's a VAT tax, a value-added tax, which is done a lot in Europe. It's like a sales tax, basically, on every part of production and selling of a good or a service. And a lot of people don't like that because it adds another way for the government to take more of your money. And he makes a good point there. So that's where that is. But the reason I'm bringing this up, and this didn't get a lot of attention, because Ben Carson didn't say a whole lot last night. And his performance is getting a lot worse. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's like flustered or doesn't want to be there. He seemed a lot more calm and steady and made more sense at the beginning than he has lately. Somebody told me maybe he's a friend of mine's like, yeah, who has Ben Carson's kids or something locked away threatening his campaign? Like, why is he getting worse? I'm like, I don't know. Somebody has his kids hostage and they're like, you better stink or we're going to kill. I don't know. But Mike, if you can skip to the Carson cut. Carson said something here that I thought was pretty clever in terms of the tax plan. As Rubio and Cruz are totally fighting over which tax plan is better and blah, 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 Carson said this.
Last week we released our tax plan, and multiple reputable journals, including the Wall Street Journal, said ours is the best. Just want to get that out there. Just saying.
I thought it was pretty funny because he's like, that Rubio is like, oh, your tax plan's this, and Cruz is like, no, your tax plan is this, and Carson says, just so you know, the Wall Street Journal and some other people have looked at my tax plan, and they've actually said mine's the best. So I just want to get that out there. And honestly, I kind of agree. Because Carson is kind of like Ted Cruz's, where it's a flat tax. His is higher. It's 14.9%. So we don't have huge deficits from lower tax revenue. I get it. But Carson has decided to also have a flat corporate income tax. So he doesn't have the value-added tax or the business tax like Ted Cruz has. He just has a flat tax for everything. I would support that much better. And now he does have different things, charitable deductions. Well, not charitable deductions. There was another deduction he added. And also, if you're below the poverty line, you would not have to pay the tax. So there's a couple other things in there, but I like his plan, actually. Ben Carson is the one guy I wish was doing better. Him and, two guys. Ben Carson and Rand Paul are both people I wish were doing better. Because they're the ones who, one, talk about how we need to reduce the size of government. And they just make sense. And their tax plans are both the best. And it's just common sense stuff. And they seem like the adult in the room a lot of the time. But it's all about performance now. It's all about charisma and funny one-liners that Trump can do. I want to talk more about this when we get back. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com and the Beyond Reason Radio app.
Subscribe to the Beyond Reason podcast today on your Stitcher app and hear the voice of reason anytime.
Hey, this is Mike Yaffee from Bud Hedinger Live and Beyond Reason Radio, and I have a question for you. Are you planning on taking any long road trips? Well, I have the perfect tool for you to make that trip go by a little bit faster. What you want to do is download the iHeartRadio app. With the iHeartRadio app, you can find your favorite music stations or create your own custom station. Don't forget to look up your favorite talk show hosts. You can find that on there as well. Make sure to download the app today at iHeartRadio.com.
You can catch the latest Beyond Reason podcast on SoundCloud today. Download the app today and search Beyond Reason Radio.
For the people in our military, it's a time of sacrifice and duty. That's why all 4 military aid societies have joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. With so many serving overseas, the need is greater than ever. You can learn more and donate at www.afrtrust.org. A message from the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Are you a small business owner in the Orlando area? Are you looking for a new, affordable way to advertise your business? Well, look no further than Beyond Reason Radio. By advertising on Beyond Reason Radio, you use the power of the internet, of radio, and of podcast. Beyond Reason Radio is available on pretty much any podcast outlet you can think of, and that means your advertisement could be on those podcast outlets as well. What better way is there to reach a loyal conservative audience for you? On Beyond Reason Radio, you get personal advertising by me, Michael Yaffee, the host, to reach people who are interested in your business. If you're interested in advertising on Beyond Reason Radio or the website beyondreasonradio.com or the podcast available, like I said, anywhere, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page at facebook.com/Beyond Reason Radio, and send me a message telling me about your business and say you're interested in advertising. Why not help lift your business up today by advertising on Beyond Reason Radio?
Listen to the latest episodes of Beyond Reason. Download the podcast at Spreaker.com.
So the left is probably happy today. Walmart is going to shut down 269 of their stores across the country. Now, most of them are what were considered the Walmart Express stores, which was kind of an experiment that failed, which happens in business, and this happens in business.
Walmart Express?
Yeah, I've never seen one in my life.
Never seen that in my life.
But apparently it was supposed to be like a convenience store called Walmart Express.
Really?
And they had them across the country and the world. I didn't know this, but...
I knew they had their own gas stations.
Well, yeah, they have the grocery stores, and they're actually expanding the grocery stores because they think that's going to help them in the market. But they're closing down a bunch of other stores, and a lot of people are going to lose their job, but it's kind of how it works. The left will love it anyways because they hate Walmart. But I thought I would just throw that out there. It's kind of kind of interesting when you think about it, because people are like, Walmart has all this money, they should pay their employees way more and all this stuff. And maybe, well, a lot of people forget, even with these big businesses, even if they make a lot of money, a lot of times their profit margins are really low. And that can go away pretty quickly. You can have really big businesses that have a lot of money at first, all of a sudden go bankrupt within a few years because the profit margins are low, and that can change. I mean, that's how the economy works. I'm not bemoaning it, but it's just one of those things that I think a lot of people don't think about. You were listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com and on the Beyond Reason Radio app. You can also catch the podcast on a bunch of places, including iHeartRadio. Just go on iHeartRadio and search Beyond Reason Radio to catch all the old podcasts. So I teased this earlier today, but one person that I really missed at the debate, I always like what he says at these debates, for the most part. I don't agree with everything he says. It's a lot of foreign policy stuff I don't agree with. And the fact that he endorsed McConnell in the Senate bothered me, and there's a couple other things. But I missed Rand Paul, because a lot of times he is one of the only people that actually talks about the role of government. That being a conservative is much more than just lower taxes and strong military and cutting spending. It's about restoring the government to its constitutional role. And asking the question, does the Constitution give the authority to the government to do this? And there still wasn't a whole lot of that last night at the debate. Now, I think Ted Cruz brings it up a little bit, and he said something, I believe it was him who said something about Common Core. It was either him or Rubio that said it's not the role of the government to dictate curriculum. And that was said at the debate, and I agree with that. And that's a good question. Is it the role of the federal government to be doing these things? That's what needs to be talked about here. That's what conservatism is really all about. People think, well, conservatism is just pro-business and anti-worker and, abortion. And no. It's about restoring the government to its constitutional role. And Rand Paul is often the only one who brings stuff like this up. Another thing he brings up, he said something earlier this week, and I played this cut when I filled in on WFLA in the morning show on Good Morning Orlando earlier this week. And I think I posted the podcast of that as well if you want to listen to that. But I played this because during Obama's State of the Union address, Obama talked about one of his biggest regrets is there's not enough compromise in Washington. And he wishes there was more compromise. We're too divided in Washington. But Rand Paul had an interview the next day, and he made a brilliant point. And he's the only one who really brings this up. And to me, it's crucial. And it's why I missed him at the debate yesterday. This is what Rand Paul said in that interview.
I think that's one of the false narratives. Many people say, oh, we can't get along, we don't talk. Actually, in Washington, the biggest problem is there's great amount of cooperation. There's actually too much compromise, but the compromise is always to spend more money. Some on the right want more military spending. Some on the left want more domestic spending. And actually, it's not that they don't get along. They actually scratch each other's back. Everybody gets more spending, but the taxpayer gets stuck with the bill.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. Because when that whole thing about the omnibus spending bill and a possible government shutdown was going up, I could not believe that what they were arguing over was more spending on both sides. Republicans and Democrats wanted more spending. They just wanted to spend it in different areas. And everybody on that stage last night wants to spend more. Now, it's on military stuff, but they still want to spend more. And Rand Paul's the only one with the guts who is saying, maybe we have to cut some military spending as well. At least we don't even have to cut military spending. All we have to do is cap the growth. So cut the rate of growth. So keep it at what it is now. And that's doable without totally gutting the military. Just cut the rate of increase on all spending, and a lot of our deficit and debt problems will go away. And he's the only one with the guts to say this. But it's the usual thing where everyone's up there. It's like, I'm going to support the military. We need to get rid of the sequester cuts on the military. And it's like, but the sequester cuts are the only thing that has worked to reduce deficits. And we've already gotten rid of the sequester cuts in the latest omnibus spending bill. So I agree. We all talk about, there needs to be more compromise and bipartisanship. No, they're compromising. And every time they compromise, it's to take away more of your liberty. All right, another thing that happened in the debate last night is we had Rubio and Ted Cruz going at it again over who's the real conservative, who's the consistent conservative. And Rubio had an interesting attack line on Ted Cruz, going point by point here, and this is what he had to say.
You used to say you supported doubling the number of green cards. Now you say that you're against it. You used to support a 500% increase in the number of guest workers. Now you say that you're against it. You used to support legalizing people that were here illegally. Now you say you're against it. You used to say that you were in favor of birthright citizenship. Now you say that you are against it. And by the way, it's not just on immigration. You used to support TPA. Now you say you're against it. I saw you on the Senate floor flip your vote on crop insurance because they told you it would help you in Iowa. And last week we all saw you flip your vote on ethanol in Iowa for the same reason. That is not consistent conservatism. That is political calculation.
You know what my first thought was, Mike, when I heard that cut?
What's that?
My first thought was like, when he goes point by point, I'm thinking, am I really going to have to go research all this now? I'm like, who is going to... I'm just like thinking, I'm like, the regular American voters, they don't know who to believe in this stuff. Because
you never know who to believe.
I know, like Ted Cruz, there's parts, and I don't have the audio, but he attacks Rubio for flip-flopping on this and flip-flopping on that, and then Rubio goes, you flip-flop on this and you flip-flop on that. Oh, I'm the consistent conservative. And I'm like, I don't want to have to look all this up to research it.
Who has time for that?
I know. And, they're counting on that, by the way.
Who?
The politicians are counting on that. People like Rubio, he just knows it sounded good. Half of what he said wasn't true, but he just knows it sounds good. Now, luckily, the National Review did look up some of this stuff.
This. 9. 11.
Yeah, exactly. All he had is I have to say it's 9/11. Yeah, and there's actually a Family Guy episode where...
Yeah, that's where I stole it from.
Where she does it. She just says 9/11. Like,
yeah, she's running for office.
That's exactly what Trump did.
That's the only reason she won.
That's exactly what Trump did last night. Yeah. Exactly. Man.
Well, in the Family Guy episode, though, they're playing that against Bush.
Right.
His first, during his presidency.
So it's kind of the opposite, but yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of stole it from Bush originally, and now we're stealing it here.
Yeah, but Trump's like, I'm going to use it too.
Yeah.
But it's just, you can go on the National Review. National Review did a fact check on Rubio, and about half of what he said wasn't true or exaggerated or, out of context, and half about what he said was true. Ted Cruz has changed his position on a couple of things, as everybody on that stage has. Everybody on that stage has changed their position once in a while. But are we really going to argue that Ted Cruz isn't a consistent conservative? I mean, ever since he's been in the Senate, he's been fighting for conservative values. We all know this. He's been the only one willing to stand up against the establishment. But my initial thought was, this is another reason why Trump wins. Because you're going to have all those politicians. They're going to do this stuff. They're going to fight over their record, and Trump doesn't have a record. All Trump has to do is be emotional and tug on the heartstrings of 9/11 and say, stuff that people want to hear and say, look at my business. It's successful. The country will be successful because my business was successful. And he wins. And they can't criticize his record because he doesn't have one. He has no record. He's never been in office before. It's clever. It's another reason why I heard that. My first thought was, I don't want to have to research all this stuff. Who has time to do all this? See who's lying. They're all lying. And then my other thought is like, this is why Trump wins. Because he's an empty slate. This is why Obama won, by the way. When Obama ran in 2008, he won because he's basically an empty slate. So you can just project what you want onto him. and he can fit it because he didn't have much of a record. I mean, yeah, he had past things he said and past associations, but nobody cares about him. I mean,
he had no record.
That was forever ago. He had no record.
He had no record. Politically, birth. No, just joke.
Yeah, I'm not one of those birthers. But Trump's the same way. And he's not running on a record. And it helps him. Because I guess the American people don't care, too lazy. They're probably just sick of the lies. You know, it's interesting. Another reason why Trump's winning. We had a caller last night when I was doing debate coverage on WFLA who called in and said, it was either last night or this morning, might have been this morning, who called in and said, Cruz aligns best with my values, but I'm voting for Trump. Mike's looking at me confused.
Explain that, please.
Let me say it again. Cruz, she agrees with Cruz more than anyone, but she's going to vote for Trump.
Can she just stay home?
She's going to do that because she believes Trump can play the game. She's like, I agree with Cruz, but Trump is going to win. And he can play the game, and he's can do the dance, and that's why I'm going to vote for him. Who cares if he doesn't agree with my values? He's going to win, and I want to win. That's what people are saying. By the way, I'm so sick of hearing that. Do we realize we won both houses of Congress? We've won tons of state elections. We won the presidency 8 years ago. So this whole I'm sick of losing thing, I don't really get that. Unless you're a conservative. If you're a real conservative, then yes, you're sick of losing. But Trump's not a conservative either. So he's not going to help you win conservatism. So I don't know. But yeah, I heard that bite and I was like, I don't want to research all of this. It's beyond reason. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com and the Beyond Reason Radio app.
Subscribe to the Beyond Reason podcast today on your Stitcher app and hear the voice of reason anytime.
Hey, this is Mike Yaffee from Buttheadinger Live and Beyond Reason Radio, and I have a question for you. Are you planning on taking any long road trips? Well, I have the perfect tool for you to make that trip go by a little bit faster. What you want to do is download the iHeartRadio app. With the iHeartRadio app, you can find your favorite music stations or create your own custom station. Don't forget to look up your favorite talk show hosts. You can find that on there as well. Make sure to download the app today at iHeartRadio.com.
You can catch the latest Beyond Reason podcast on SoundCloud today. Download the app today and search Beyond Reason Radio.
For the people in our military, it's a time of sacrifice and duty. That's why all 4 military aid societies have joined together to form the Armed Forces Relief Trust to help military families cope with financial and medical emergencies at home. With so many serving overseas, the need is greater than ever. You can learn more and donate at www.afrtrust.org. A message from the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Are you a small business owner in the Orlando area? Are you looking for a new, affordable way to advertise your business? Well, look no further than Beyond Reason Radio. By advertising on Beyond Reason Radio, you use the power of the internet, of radio, and of podcast. Beyond Reason Radio is available on pretty much any podcast outlet you can think of, and that means your advertisement could be on those podcast outlets as well. What better way is there to reach a loyal conservative audience for you? On Beyond Reason Radio, you get personal advertising by me, Michael Yaffee, the host, to reach people who are interested in your business. If you're interested in advertising on Beyond Reason Radio or the website beyondreasonradio.com or the podcast available, like I said, anywhere, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page at facebook.com/beyondreasonradio, and send me a message telling me about your business and say you're interested in advertising. Why not help lift your business up today by advertising on Beyond Reason Radio?
If you like Beyond Reason Radio, well, make sure to show it by liking the Facebook page at facebook.com/Beyond Reason Radio.
So, Mike showed me a video
Are you ready?
During the break that's apparently at a Trump rally
just in
Florida that's trending all over social media, I guess. I didn't see that. I'm looking at Twitter right now. I don't see it.
This is what we call Beyond Reason breaking news.
But apparently they're at a Trump rally, and you see...
Pensacola, Florida, unfortunately.
Is this for real?
It's for real. It's all over the internet right now. It's all over Facebook, all over social media.
Really?
It's trending right now online.
What is it trending as? What's the hashtag? Do you know?
Just Donald Trump. Donald Trump is trending right now because of this right now. In Pensacola, Florida... There is a Donald Trump rally. They're calling it the Donald Trump Jam right now. Oh my gosh! I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play a clip here.
It's little. You have to picture because it's like
it's 3 young girls. They look to be
like maybe 8 or to 10.
I'm gonna say ranging from 8 to 13, maybe 12,
and
13.
They're in American flag like dresses and skirts.
Yes, and you just look at it. You all need to look it up. But I'm gonna play the audio here, and it doesn't get much more beyond reason than this.
Apologies for freedom. I can't handle this. When
this just happened.
To the call. On your feet, stand up tall. Freedom's on our shoulders. USA.
This is happening at his rally.
Enemies of freedom. Face the music. Come on, boys, take them down. President Donald Trump knows how to make America great. Deal from strength or get crushed every time.
I mean, the music's catchy.
When did Donald Trump take over Kids Bop?
Over there, freedom and liberty everywhere. Oh, say can you see it's not so easy, but we have to stand up tall and answer freedom's call.
So if anyone disagrees that's all Trump does, plays on your emotions. He's playing on your heartstrings, your emotions. And now his idea...
I'm waiting for Barney to pop out.
He had his idea now. No, it's like from a sitcom. It's almost like from a sitcom, like a skit that somebody running for office in a sitcom would do. It doesn't seem real, but that's what he does.
Oh my gosh.
He just plays with your heartstrings and your emotions and rah America, 9/11 America, make America great again. Here's little kids who love America. It means I love America too, and that's what he does. Who cares about what he actually believes? What does he actually believe?
Let's blind the voters with small children.
Yeah, who can be against small children singing about their love for America?
With planned choreography.
Yeah. I mean, who can be against that? It's kind of like with Obama. He's trying to make the State of the Union address. He's trying to make Biden look good. So he has Biden heading the commission to defeat cancer. I mean, nobody's going to be against defeating cancer. So of course it's going to make Biden look great.
Oh my god!
Biden's going to lead us to beating cancer and defeating the war on cancer. Yeah, I mean nobody's going to be against that.
USA.
And when Trump did his whole 9/11 speech last night, everyone was clapping. Even the people on the stage, even Cruz started clapping about this because you can't be against that. It's brilliant. I'm telling you, I don't understand how he has not been a politician his whole life. And you know what I'm really mad at? That I did not see this coming. How did I not see this coming? I usually can see a lot of things coming. Because Trump is basically the anti-Obama. And he is the opposite of Obama in every way, except he plays on platitudes and emotions like Obama did. And I should have known. See, I thought people were going to gravitate towards Rubio because Rubio is like Obama in how he's campaigning and everything. It's just like how Obama campaigned. He's a minority, next American century, hope, very charismatic, all this stuff. And I thought people were going to react to that. But they don't want someone who's like Obama. They want someone that's the direct opposite. Someone who's charismatic in a smug way. Someone who's going to be totally not politically correct to the point where he just insults everybody. Someone who's just going to be like, rah, rah, USA, 9/11, kill ISIS, national security, make America great again. And I should have saw this coming, and I didn't. I'm very upset about this, Mike. Why? But I think he's going to win the nomination. Even with using kids, there's sometimes where I think, is he serious? Does he even want? Is this like a game to him? Is it like a joke? I mean, is he really want to win the presidency? It's like he's sitting around and he's thinking, what kind of crazy thing can I do now to get attention for myself? It's like every week. It's like every week he's like, well, all you have to do to win office, win elections now, is to do something outrageous and say something controversial or do something crazy, and my poll numbers go up. So I'm just going to keep doing it. In fact, I don't know if you can find this cut, Mike. There's an old cut. If you go into my folder there, it's a Trump cut where I had a montage. I don't know if there's something that says Trump montage.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
Yeah, there is a montage of like all the controversial things that Trump has said during his campaign.
But I have a scalpel for business. Mm-hmm. We have costs.
That's not it. That is him. That was actually the one good thing Trump said. But there, yeah, I had a montage put together. I might not have it anymore. That you just think about all the controversial things he has said. No, it's not it. I forget where I saved it in there. But anyways, yeah, all he has done, and it seems, I don't think it's all planned, but he just, one after another, says something controversial to give himself more attention, and he stays in the news, and there's two ways to get attention in today's society. Either pretend you're a victim, or be a victim of something. If you're a victim of something, you automatically get attention, whether it's police brutality or sexism or racism or anything else. If you're a victim of something, the
victim card, the coveted victim card. Victim.
That's the first way. The second way is to be as controversial as possible. And I've had people tell me for this show, just say something really controversial, Mike, and keep doing it, and ratings will shoot up like crazy. That's how you get popular.
Yeah.
And it's tempting because it works, and it's working for Trump, and that's what he does. But I decided not to do that. Because what I wanted to be was the voice of reason. I wanted to be the voice of reason. This show is supposed to be the voice of reason throughout the world that's beyond reason. That means all the controversial stuff that's floating on everywhere out in the real world, people are looking for common sense. People are looking for reality. People are looking for the voice of reason, voice of truth through it all. So if that doesn't make me as popular as being just totally controversial all the time, well, so be it. At least I have my soul.
I like your way.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Your style.
Thank you, Mike. All right, you've been listening to Beyond Reason Radio here at BeyondReasonRadio.com, and let's see. Let me get the verse that I always have from Philippians chapter 4, help you end the week. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things, and the God of peace will be with you. Notice he didn't say whatever is controversial and crazy.
That he did not.
We'll catch you guys on Monday. See you then.